So I recently dug this Swarmfire out of a storage unit, and it looks to be in pretty rough shape. It needs a thorough cleaning. It's got some gunk going on, and I just really enjoyed the Swarmfire as a blaster. I thought that it was super duper great. So I've decided to come in, repaint parts of this, and give it a full overhaul because I'd like to have access to a Swarmfire at SE and Sea Wars. I think that they're a great stock class ammo option, and it was just a really fun blaster. I remember enjoying it a whole bunch when it came out. So without any more talking about, let's crack it open and get to work. As always, guys, sand to a chalky finish. Come in here and knock off the warning labels on this guy, and then make sure that you give it a good rinse before you lay down your base coat. I actually still have to come in here and get some of this gunk out because I don't want to paint over it, but the outer surface of this is almost exactly what you want. You want that light chalky finish, no longer glossy, making sure that your paint or dye or whatever you use as a base coat will stick very well. So for my super crazy Swarmfire project, I came in and I isolated the leads for this motor. It's a much larger motor. It's much bigger than the standard 130 size motors that flywheels use today. It's actually much larger than what the 180 people use in some of their flywheel builds. So holding this together, because for some reason it's not all the way together. I've also knocked out the air restrictor, and I came in and I put in a 2-time spring from Orange Modworks, which was just left over from a bunch of stuff that I had from them. Now this is a serious LiPo battery, and it should give us some pretty decent results, and it's what I eventually plan on installing in the Swarmfire. Wow. Okay, so even with that 2-time spring, it's really just hammering in there. So I think that maybe we dial this back to one of these smaller batteries, but still very cool, should be very exciting, and I just can't wait to put this one together. So my goofy downtime project is coming along nicely. Everything's been soldered how I want it. I am using the original switch. I don't see any real problem with that thus far. Plus it's nice, it fits into the shell. I've hot glued it down, I've hot glued my wires down, and it works, I guess, is the most important thing in any blaster. So hooking up this connector here through, and again this comes through the original battery tray, which has been hacked to bits, but that's not a big deal because nobody will ever see inside it. We have this. I've gone ahead and tossed 2 elite darts in because I got tired of dry firing the blaster as I was working on it, and it's a little scary. So great response, great rate of fire, and the performance I've yet to test, but I know that running that twice as tough spring should pay off in the long run. So I'm going to get it closed up and figure out how exactly I want to seat this battery in here, but it should be very impressive by the time it's all said and done, especially for just like a goofy, fun SE&C blaster. So this is my finish just for fun Swarmfire. I'm naming it after a Star Wars blaster that it looks a lot like, and I've loaded it with a set of brand new 20 elite, or not elite, but Tagger darts because I like Tagger darts. Also, it's kind of funny because that's what this blaster would have come with originally. As I've mentioned before, and you can see coming through the front, the ARs and the dart posts have all been completely removed. The AR is actually built into the plunger housing, whereas the dart posts are all inside here. So it'll now fire anything from streamlines to elites. I went ahead and attached the stock back on. I'm really digging this green paint. I like it a lot. At first this was just an exercise in using up the remaining green paint from the Tropicalia, so they match even though the Tropicalia is going off to a new home very soon. That's kind of exciting, but I wanted to fire this blaster for you, and it just has a lot of merits over the modern electronic blasters, and I think that that's really cool. So first off, single trigger, no rev trigger, which is something that I really like, that it's just click, boom, and so I'm going to fire it. And the rate of response is almost instantaneous, which is really cool, and that's all because of this LiPo battery setup in the bottom. But what I really like is that each shot is as powerful as the next, is as powerful as the last, and you get that performance right off the bat with the first shot, just like you would in a Springer blaster, because it is a Springer blaster as opposed to a flywheel blaster where your first shot, you've got to wait for those guys to rev up. So I think that that's just super duper cool. It really just unleashes a hail of shots, and single firing it is easy, but you do get that really cool kind of noise as it winds down. So that's my blaster. It's not really a replica, but it's kind of like the Star Wars blaster, which is completely unintentional between the green and then the orange front blaster, but it's just really cool. It was an excellent exercise in what these batteries are capable of and kind of how to use them and hooking up the leads for them, and I really enjoyed making it. You might even see me use this at the SENC Wars myself, just because I really love using a different blaster every round, and this one has some unique merits over some of the other ones that I use. Plus I like the shape. I know that a lot of people don't like the super front heavy blaster, but I don't mind. It's clearly a two-handed, almost like plasma style rifle thing, which I think is very cool. So I enjoyed making this one. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm about to depart on a Nerf trip, so I'm looking for a little bit of fun travel money, so I am going to part ways with this. This is the Vamp Shot Rev 5. It's one of the first modded hammer shots that I did, and it is now available on eBay, so you can check that link in the description box below. But it hits hard, it has a full AR removal, and I did a complete video on it if you want to look into it. The paint job has worn significantly since then, and I just wanted to make that clear in the spirit of fair play. So here it is on video so that you can see exactly what you would be bidding on. It still works perfectly fine. It's just, it's seen some better days and the paint job is a little bit worn, but it served me well, and hopefully it will serve one of you well also. So as always, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy your weekend.